Welcome to The Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a show that is a central hub and safe space for authors to share their stories. The Bold Book with Dr. Denise begins now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Bold Book of the Day. My name is Dr. Denise Nicholson, and I'm the creator of this wonderful podcast. And this podcast is for anyone looking for inspiration. Today's guest is Miss Rowena Campbell, the author of Ayana's Flying Saucer Sighting. This book is amazing, and I love it because my grandchildren love it, and it has a great story about how to intrigue your children into wondering and learning more about the wonders of science. Welcome, Rowena.
Thank you, Dr. Denise. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me on your platform. It's a great pleasure to be here.
Oh, thank you so much. Tell us more about yourself and this book project.
Okay, so as you know, I was born and grew up, went to high school in Jamaica, and I migrated here and went to college. And while I was in college, I was a part of their newspaper, the Viking News, and then I went to work at Westchester Jewish Community Services. While I was there, the CEO of the company sent out an email to all the workers, and it says that there was going to be a flying saucer sighting happening tomorrow, the Wednesday. And I was so excited. I've never heard about this. And I was like, wait a second, I didn't hear about it on the news. I didn't hear about it. No one was talking about it. Why am I the only one excited about this flying saucer sighting? So I went over to my friend, our coworker, and I asked her, I said, what's going on? Did you hear? She started laughing. And I'm like, why are you laughing? Is this funny or something? She didn't answer. She just hysterically laughing. So I left. I went back to sit to my seat. And then after she gained her composure, she came to me and she said, Rowena, it's not really a flying saucer sighting. I was like, so what is it then? She said, the flying saucer sighting is an ice cream social, and the ice cream is what it is. So I went online and I started reading up on this thing because I've never heard about it before. And oh my goodness, it was amazing when I read on it. I said, wow, I never heard about it. So the day of the social, I see what it was, I enjoyed what it was, and I was like, this could be a story to tell. I know kids would love it because it have ice cream and flying saucers and all of these other things in there. That's very a good thing that will pique their interest. So I started to think about it. I started to write about it. Every year when that happened, I said, I have to write this book. I have to write this book. 4 years. It took me 4 years to write it on a piece of paper. Just like I took the blank sheet of paper from the computer and I just write my thoughts down. And I do little scribbles as my illustration. You just write. And then I said, I came home. I have my daughter at the time was about 4 years old. And I said to her, you want to hear mommy's book? And she says, yes. And I read it to her and I read it to her. Every night when it was book time, she said, Mommy, read your story. I said, okay. And then she said to me, Mom, I think you should write the story and put it in the library so other children could read it and get to enjoy it. I said, that's a good idea. She believed in me. She believed that the story was a very good story because she enjoyed it. Not that, mind you, I called the main author, the main character, Ayana, for her. So I don't know if because her name was in there, she was excited or it's the story, but nevertheless, she was excited. So I started to transcribe it, put it on the computer, embellished on it, make it more of a story that everyone else would love to read. And from there on, I just went out there, get it edited and illustrated, and when you talk about it, we'll get to the other part of the publishing part of it.
What a beautiful story. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. We are so lucky to have children who are inspiring and creative and just push us beyond our limits.
Yes.
Man, what a role model, okay?
She believed in me
Yes,
and
that's the
believed in
most
the
important thing.
message.
She believed
Yes,
in you because I guess you have been showing her that you believe in her and anything is possible, you know?
exactly. Exactly. I tell her that all the time. Even at times when she doubts herself, I'm like, yeah, I'm her biggest champion.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So tell us about so Ayana is the main character. So tell us about her journey throughout this story.
Okay. So she was told that there was going to be a flying saucer sighting happen that day. So her journey through the story is from the time she left home. She was so excited she couldn't contain herself. She went on the bus. She's telling everybody, her friend, oh my gosh, you can't believe this. There's going to be a flying saucer sighting. And her best friend is Liliana. She's like, come over, you have to come over, we're going to watch it together. I'm going to get everything. She went to school. She was so excited talking about this. She but she was she was ridiculed. She was mocked. She was made fun of because other students were saying fly saucer don't exist. They were
Oh.
saying they're not real. So during in science class, she brought it up in a way, not to say flying saucers or aliens are gonna come, but they were doing something about environment in the science class. So she was wondering, she was comparing, like, probably the aliens are coming here to Earth because we're not taking care of our environment, and
Mm.
they're mad with us. So she's asking these questions to the science teacher. Is it about the climate change? Is it because we're polluting the air, the water, and stuff like that? So she's kind of putting aliens coming to Earth as a warning for us to take care of our planet. So she's journeying through this book up until the time when it was going to happen, was really going to happen. They were ready for the spaceship to just pass. During the daytime, she's daydreaming about it. She's thinking everything she sees in the sky, what is it? This is this it? Sometimes it's just birds, or sometimes the airplane leave those white marks in the sky. We
Uh-huh,
call
uh-huh.
She believes at one point she thought it was a Morse code, like the aliens are communicating with her, like, we're coming, we're coming.
She was
So
just using her imagination,
yes, in
honey.
imagination. So it was an exciting journey for her to get to the point where she realized what her mom meant by having the flying saucer sighting. So it was
So
a journey for her. Yes.
so I see the journey. I remember reading the book and the themes of imagination and misunderstanding as you made
Hmm.
that clear again. But
Yes.
what message do you want the readers to take away from this book?
Okay, so my book is the message I want to portray using my book,
Mhm.
although people who bought the book was saying they saw many messages in there, but my goal was for children not to make assumptions.
Mm.
The goal of the book, teaching children not to make assumption, is a very valuable lesson because it keeps their mind open. They have an open mind, and we can encourage them to active listening.
Mhm.
We can also encourage them to ask questions and
Mhm.
seek understanding when they don't have an answer, or when, instead of jumping into conclusion.
Mhm.
So that's the main goal of the book. That's the core of my teaching moment,
Mhm.
is teaching them not to make assumptions, but
Yeah.
rather ask questions.
And that's important. So write it down, guys. When you get this book, Ayana's Flying Saucer and Sighting, make sure that when you're reading it with your kids, you encourage them to be creative, to not
Yes,
make assumptions, and to ask questions. Yes, because
exactly.
I think that's there, like you said, other people have said in their testimonial that they get a lot of messages from it. I got a lot of messages from it too, but one is, as a grandmother, I had an important role to play with my grandchildren or in their lives. So tell us, what was the role of the nana in, or the grandmother in the book?
The grandmother in the book was a person of who cares. She was the person who would pick her up or stay with her after school. So she was
Mhm.
like that mother figure while the mother was away. She was keeper of secrets as well, because even though she also knew what it meant or what the social was going to be about, she didn't spill the bean. She just act as if, I don't know,
Something big is coming.
what she said is out of this world, So she was that grandmother who was a is like I would compare it with other grandmothers
Mhm.
who love their grandkids and they want the best for them and don't and want them to experience things, maybe good things in life as well, instead of the anything bad. So she would she would create or she would create that environment, a safe environment, an environment of exploration, an environment of using their imagination. And even with when she baked the cookies for them, she didn't want them to eat it yet because the cookies would go with the flying saucers. So basically she was a cool grandmother, and she
Yeah.
was a mother figure for her as well when her parents weren't around.
Yeah, I love grandmothers. I had a great relationship with my grandmother, and I was raised for some time with my great grandmother. So
Mhm.
just reading your book brought me back to that time when I was spending so much time with my grandmother and just cherishing the moments and the memories of having my grandparents.
Yes.
And so, what message do you want to share with grandmothers? You know?
Okay, so I grew up with my grandmother,
Mm.
and I grew up as an only child. My grandmother was the best ever. I cried so much when she passed, but she taught me so many lessons, because when she was at her age, growing up with her, she never knew how to read or write well. I
Mhm.
don't even remember if I'd ever seen her writing. So at an early age, I was her writer. I was thrust into the role of writing the letters and reading the letters, or anything she had to read. All right. I
Mhm.
was the one who do it. So she instilled in me the value of education,
Mhm.
because I never had that um, educational person at home to say, okay, she'll help me with my homework or whatever. But she made sure I went to school every day, rain or shine. And she made sure I was taken care of. She made sure all of my needs were met. And since I was the only child in a
Mhm.
sense, I have other siblings, but I was the only one living at home with
Mhm.
her.
Yeah.
So I was given everything. People say I was spoiled, but in a good way. When she would send me to the libraries, make sure I bring home books. She would so books became my area of entertainment. Books became my area of exploration. Books
Mhm.
became my area of education. I learned through them, and I was able to see what other people were thinking about, because usually it's your thoughts that comes out in writing. So it's like I could read their minds in a
Mhm.
sense. you know so my grandmother instilled a lot in me, and I think that's why I placed Nana in there as that fun loving person, and I
Yeah.
could see that character in Nana as my grandmother. It's
Yes.
always like she makes sure I was well kept. She has everything you would want in a grandmother. She was loving. We shared. I Even though I had my own bed, every night I'm in her bed, because I want to be right up on her. When I'm afraid, she's there. When I'm sad, she's there. When I'm crying, she's always there for me, always. And I implore every grandmother to be a part of their grandkids' lives. Right now, my mother, she and my children, they're inseparable.
Oh,
They're
nice.
inseparable. Anything, she spoils them now. If they want something and say grandma, she gives it to them. Even when she said, I don't have it, I don't, she's still giving it to them. Sometimes I don't know it happened. I just see something. I say, where did you get that? Grandma
Mm-hmm.
gave it to me. So
Mm-hmm.
grandmas are pillars of our community. They're pillars of our family. They're the ones who pass on the history to us. They're the ones who tell
Mm-hmm.
us our family tree. They're the ones that tells us, they impart in us values and morals. And
Yes.
I remember when I was in Jamaica and when I went back home and I was talking to another person, a grandmotherly figure, she would say to me, so what's your last name? Because the last, she doesn't remember me, but if I tell her the last name, she can associate it with my grandmother. And she says,
Mm-hmm.
oh, your Auntie Esther granddaughter. Yes, now I remember. And so it's your grandmother should be that root
It's a
that
root
brings connection
connection.
to your
Yes.
culture, to your family, to your
Yeah.
history. And
Yeah.
that's what grandmothers should impart in their children, apart from love, is
Mhm.
that history, that connection to who they are, who they were, or their ancestors.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of
Beautiful point. And so
yeah.
if you don't have a grandmother, because some children they don't have the luxury of having a grandmother,
Mhm.
I am hearing that connection or connection with an elder is
Yes,
really important. So if you don't have a grandmother, just find that elderly female in the family. Maybe it's an auntie that's older,
yes,
and just embrace the wisdom and the nurturing from that family member.
right, exactly. Because sometimes it could be an aunt,
Mm-hmm.
even a grand aunt, maybe your grandmother's sister. So
Yes.
it's a grandmother that passed, or you don't have a relationship. You could foster a relationship with your grand aunt,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like they too can impart that knowledge and that history
Yeah.
of your family.
You said so many things, and I don't want to not pick up on the mentioning of environmental pollution. Why was it important for you to add that in there?
It was important to add it in there because even though I was talking about something else,
Mm-hmm.
I still want the kids to have an open mind, or give their imagination open. Instead of telling them right away about flying saucer, I want to keep them um what's that term? I want to keep them thinking like, oh, this alien and this alien. I wanted to take their mind off the flying saucer that it is, and
Mm-hmm.
give them something like magic, something unknown, something out of this world that they've never seen before. So we'll
Okay.
keep them reading. It will keep them wanting to know
Mm-hmm.
more, because it's nobody knows what they are. They have depictions of them,
Mm-hmm.
because even in the story she's asking, what would they look like, how would they sound like, maybe they look
Mm-hmm.
like me, like duplicate, so it
Mm-hmm.
gives them that mindset of pollution, like what is coming, is it the world may be coming to an end or
Mm-hmm.
something, the
Let them
aliens
think
are
and be
coming.
creative.
Yeah, yeah, being creative. The aliens are coming because we're not taking care of our planet. So I'm associated with the universe, because everything I believe in the universe is in tune. The sun, the moon, the stars, and all the galaxies out there is
Mm-hmm.
in tune. And if the Earth is polluted, it will affect the other galaxies. And the aliens, they're coming to tell us take care of our planet because it's affecting them. So I equate environment with the aliens in that respect, that
Yeah.
they're coming to tell us take care of our planet. We've seen erosions, we've seen so many fires, we've seen flooding in places that never flood before, we've seen all
Mm-hmm.
of these things because humans are doing this thing to the planet. Right now we're talking about what? Global warming.
Mm-hmm.
So are they coming to tell us to take care of our planet? Are they coming to warn us? Are they coming, So that's why
Right.
I put the environment and all the climate changes that's been happening in the story.
So you want children to pay attention to the ecosystem
Right?
and to
Yes.
understand the role that they play in it.
Right. Exactly.
Did you have to do some research?
Yes, I did, because I was talking about aliens.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to find out, when the first supposedly sighting here. So I read
Uh-huh.
up on the Roswell, New Mexico issue that
Mm-hmm.
happened, whatever year ago, I forget the year. So I read up on those things, and I read up on pollution. I try to, because I want it to be, even though it's imaginative, I still
Mm-hmm.
want it to be as close as possible to being real or truthful.
Yes.
So I mixed it up, imagination and reality or
And that's
facts.
important. When you're writing a book, you have to do some research, but you can't just throw the research in there. You have to
Yes,
season it up into the content so that the story has the research without it sounding like you did some research. And
right.
you did a
Yeah,
marvelous job
yeah.
with that.
Thank
Yes.
you. I didn't
Now,
want it to be like a textbook. I wanted to be fun,
right.
but still instill in it, still put in there some context of learning.
Yeah.
Even in the book, if when you get it I try to. My book is, I think, between the age 7 to 12, or based on their reading level. But
Hmm.
I put some big words in there. You know that, like,
Yes,
we
you have to
don't know
stretch
what it
the
means. So I
line.
put some big words, and
Yeah.
I do this subscript or whatever. So on the bottom of the book, you will see the word, and it will tell you the meaning, if it's a noun, what it means. So
Yeah.
when you're reading as a child and you get to this word, you will say, okay, what does this mean? But the meaning is right there for you to learn. So I'm hoping they too can learn something, even if it's a word, as they read.
Yes, it's a beautiful laid out format, and I think that children will appreciate it as well as parents will appreciate
Yeah,
it. It's a
exactly.
learning tool, it's intriguing, the story is mesmerizing, and I think it's a great book to add to your children's library. Now,
Definitely.
I know how it is when you're writing a book. Sometimes you have challenges, and sometimes it just, the story is just flowing. What was the most difficult part of writing this book for you?
The most difficult part. Uh, Most difficult part. I'm not sure if there was.
Oh,
'Cause, okay, hold on. Let me see. Everything was in my head. I think it's just putting them in context, and into the way it will flow.
yeah.
Because when I write, I don't know, that's how I write. At times I try to be chronologically correct, or
Mm-hmm.
like when it happened, I don't put night before day, just morning, evening, night, stuff like that. I tried to, so that part of it was kind of challenging, because sometimes I want to go back into the past to say, this morning, I wanted to flow nice so that you don't get confused, or the child
Mm-hmm.
won't get confused when
Yeah.
reading the story. So that part was a little challenging for me. And another thing that I found out is like the put in past tense and present tense. That's something I really have to, I'm honing on, trying to not mix the tense.
Yes,
Yeah, so those
those
were,
were your
yes,
challenges in the story.
yes,
And
yes.
see how important it is to mention that, because a lot of people, they are writing, or they want to write the story, right? They have this dream of writing their book, but they know they have these challenges of mixing, the past tense and present tense, and just mixing up their tenses, or just grammatically not savvy, and that's okay. we
Yes, that's
if
yeah,
you
the
have an
editors.
important story, say, write your story
Yes,
and let the editors do their part. Of course, it's
right,
important to get it
right,
as much as we can, but that doesn't mean your book doesn't deserve to be on the bookshelves because you had issues with some grammar. Get the help that you need and get
right,
professionals to help you bring your best work forward, so that an excellent piece of literature is go out there, and you are not burdened with the weight of not writing that book. Like Maya Angelou said, an untold story is burdensome. As a matter of fact, she said there's nothing more burdensome than an untold story. So,
right.
guys, get your book idea out
Mhm.
of your head, and,
Yes, that's how I had felt during the few years. between that transition in by writing it, and every year it keeps on me. I need to write it, I need to write it, I need to, until like it happened. So it was a burden, it was something I want to tell, but it never came out that so it is actually what she's saying is correct. It's a
Mm-hmm.
burden.
Yep, Maya Angelou said there's no greater burden than bearing an untold story. So
Mhm.
get that story out there, and the professionals will do their best to get the grammar up to par, and you will be proud of putting out an excellent product.
Yes, I am proud of
So,
it.
what do you think sets your book apart from other children's stories?
um First of all, it's about aliens and flying saucers.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I went into when I was doing my research on aliens, like children's book, there wasn't a lot. There
Mm-hmm.
was adult stuff because it's so mesmerizing, or wanted to know the unknown. But
Mm-hmm.
there wasn't, for this age group, there wasn't too much about flying saucers and aliens. So I wanted to I wanted to get into it, and
Mm-hmm.
I know that this book is set apart because it's flying saucer. If you go in and you type in flying saucer in Amazon, it's not a lot that comes up when it comes to children's book.
Great job on creating that niche.
Yeah, so I said, you know what? Yeah, if some, then mine will come up in the front. The first few will be mine. Flying
Yeah.
saucer, you'll see my book on top. Except for those adult stories, there's not a lot in this area. So I
Yeah.
think it will set it aside. It will be more than a traditional regular book.
Do you think we're not doing enough to engage children scientifically?
I There is a lot out there recently in the past few years where
Mm-hmm.
they start doing this STEM program,
Mm-hmm.
and where they have the science, so they try to push kids in the science world,
Mm-hmm.
whatever science it is, you know. But a lot of children, I don't think they now they want to be bothered with science. They
Mm-hmm.
just want to be on social media. They just
Mm-hmm.
want to have their phones and do whatever it is on their phones and create content. They don't want to work anymore. They don't want to be involved in science. It's the younger ones, yes. I could see where the toddlers, and they learn science, they try to do experiments and they love the outcome, or what it creates when they do these procedures, and
Mm-hmm.
using the different materials. But I don't think when it comes to like high school and stuff like that, you'll find a lot of them in the science world.
So you think
So
at
I
one
don't think,
point they lose the interest, because you just said that at toddlers you see
yes, they
them
lose the interest.
loving it, but when they get older they're loving it. Your daughter, how old is she?
She's 13 now.
And this book, was inspired, or it was named after her. And
Right.
anyway, the main character is named after her. How do you get her to be involved in science now? Because she's at that disconnected age group.
um the way I get her, it's not just me, but it's in her at school once a year. They have to do a science project.
Mm-hmm. Once a year.
They have to do a science project, so they have to find something to do the project on. So
Mm-hmm.
during that month, we always out doing research. We have to do research. We have to get the materials. We have to get the board to display this stuff. It's the whole
Mm-hmm.
project. And it's so interesting when it happens. She decided on the what she's going to report on. She
Mm-hmm.
decided on the format how she's gonna do it. But at the end, every day she's looking forward to what's gonna happen, what's the reaction, what's the conclusion, what's the hypothesis. She's so into it during that period, but then after that she don't care. But
Oh.
I tried to get her into it. We talked about it. She loves like snow. She said winter is her favorite month. So the days when it snows, she's in heaven. So she's into it somewhat, but not like me, who would watch the weather every day, or who will be like, what's going on? There's flooding in California. What's happening? She's not into it like that. She's into science part of it, but in the medical aspect of science. She wants to become a doctor. So that's the science part where she's focusing on, not the environmental or science part of it.
But at least you have her engaged and doing some scientific things, even if it's once a year.
Yes. At least. Yes. Yes. Hmm.
Beautiful. I mean, we have to do our part in helping our children um, learn more about science because science is the future.
Yes, it is.
Science is the future. And since children are our future and science is the future, and we want to be well taken care of when we get older, we got to get them involved and pique their interest. As many of them, as many of the young people as possible, we have to
Hmm.
get them, do our part in just constantly introducing them to science so that they can realize that there are creative energies and juices in them that they can contribute to the world. They can be creative and help to create a brighter future just by embracing some science.
Hmm. Yes, I agree.
Excellent. Now,
Yes.
thank you so much for coming and sharing all of this information about your book, Ayana's Flying Star Society. Where can our audience get your book?
Okay, so my book is available on my website. It's rowenaexplores.com, and
Mhm.
this the X is ROWENAEXPLOREZ.com. That's where you'll find it. It's also available anywhere printed books on demand are sold, but I
Mhm.
rather you buy it from my website. So it's on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Walmart, those places, but get
That's
it from
right.
my website, because when you get it from my website, you get a free gift and you get it personalized, you get it autographed. If you get it from the other places, you won't get my signature in there. You never know. Day, one day, my signature is gonna worth more than the money you pay for that book.
All right. You heard it here. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
Now, before you go, there are three questions I love to ask all of my guests.
Yeah.
And one is, what's one bold promise that you can share with the audience?
Okay. One bold promise that I would like to share with my audience is that I will continue to write children's book. I
Mhm.
will continue to craft the book, um, and not only for entertainment purposes, but for them to captivate them to
Mhm.
understand the world around us, and
Mhm.
that they will use their perspectives, their challenges, whatever it is, and use it to ignite the emotions and inspire them to explore the depths of their imagination. That's it.
Beautiful.
Because imagination is everything. You imagine it, and you imagine and you create.
If you can dream it, you can achieve it.
Yes, yes.
All right. Now, what's a bold statement you can share with the audience that will cause a paradigm shift?
All right. I wrote this down. So just not to make a mistake, I'll read. So as a children's book writer, one bold statement I would like to make to my
Mhm.
audience that will create a paradigm shift is that every child possesses the power to change the world simply by embracing their uniqueness and use their imagination to create anything. They could create stories, movies, anything, ships, buildings. Just imagine it, and they could create new inventions, and which this imagination they have can truly make a positive impact on their world as they come up. So
Yes,
that's the bold statement.
that's
Each child,
beautiful.
yeah. Hmm.
Write it down, guys. And here's a quote that goes along with it. I said it earlier, but it's from Walt Disney. If you can dream it, you can imagine it. And that is a powerful affirmation that you can say to yourself on a daily basis to get your creative juices turning and spinning and just, you know, encouraging you and inspiring you to just dream
Yes.
big.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yes. I was during my research as well, and stuff. I read this thing that Albert Einstein said. He
Hmm.
said, "Imagination is the preview to life's coming attractions,"
Ooh, I love it.
and that is like Like when you were growing up and you said, "Oh, I wish I could just sit in this car and it takes me where I want to go."
Mm.
How many
Yes.
times? No, we have it. We
Yeah.
have it. So if there's
Self-driving cars.
somebody imagine, somebody dream about it, write it down and put it pen and then create. Now we have a car, we just put the information where we want to go and no driver.
Yes.
So
So
just it's life's coming attraction. I'm dreaming it.
yeah.
It's gonna happen in the
Yeah.
future, down the road.
I
Yes.
can't wait to see what this generation produces because they are so advanced. From a baby can just pick up the phone and they can find their app and go on
Mhm.
there. So
Yes.
they're so fast. So I can't
Yes.
wait. I think we are going to have an
Yes.
amazing future because
That
we have some really creative,
creative
advanced
minds.
young people.
Yes.
Yeah, so
I
I'm looking forward to
remember.
it.
Yes, I remembered when my daughter, when it was iPads, whatever, my daughter had one from her sister, and
Hmm.
she wanted to find something on the computer on the phone, but she didn't know how to write it. So one day I saw her with it, and she was laughing and what, and looked at it. I said, "How did you get on?" She said, "Mommy, you just press that button like a microphone, and you say what you want." So she didn't have to type. We don't have to learn how to read, write, nothing anymore. We just go on the computer and say what we want to say, and we get results. We don't have to learn to read and write.
Well,
We
I hope
just
we still
go.
learn to read and write, but
You
I get the
know, I mean, yeah, I'm just
point.
saying, like their generation coming up, they don't have to learn
No,
how to
they
do
have
anything.
less limitations.
Yes,
Yes, yes, that
they
is
just press record and they could write and they dictate the whole story just by
yes.
write and the computer write it for them. We didn't have
Nothing.
to do that. We had to go on the typewriter.
Yes, you have to learn to type. You have to
Yes, and
go
spell.
to the encyclopedia to research stuff.
Yes,
I mean, it was way more difficult for us, but now it's so much more easy for you to be
yes,
successful in
it's
this world.
easier. Yes,
Nothing
it
should
is.
hinder you. Whatever you want, you can achieve. Whatever you can dream, you can achieve it.
You can achieve. Yes.
I know how ambitious you are. I
Mhm.
know how creative you are. And so I'm looking forward to hearing the answer to this next question. What's a bold move that you're going to make in the future?
Oh, wow. Bold move. All right. So I've been doing these discussions or these topics on my Facebook Live
Mm-hmm.
every Sunday. It's called Rowena Explores Parenting Without Manual. So I want to, and it's a platform where we talk about issues that parents or caregivers face on a day to day basis raising our children.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to have our parent children workshop where I teach or where we discuss issues parents and their children. So it's not just parent alone, it's going to be both parent and child
Yeah.
in this workshop. And I want to discuss issues that they're going through, mainly communication, because I've noticed in relationships that communication is the key, and it's something that could easily get misconstrued,
Yes.
misinterpreted, and that's what caused a lot of friction, a lot of arguments in your
Yes.
family, because you say something and probably your tone, which is a part of communication, your body language is a part of communication, your
Yeah.
gestures, all of that plays a big part
Mm-hmm.
into how you communicate with someone. Sometimes somebody could ask you something and you shake your head and it's like a disrespect,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not really a disrespect. So, but it's just a miscommunication. Even when you're doing your like phone communication, text communication, you could write it one way and the person interpret it another way. So
Yes.
I want to have that workshop where we can look into these breakdown in communication skills as a parent and children. And the children part of it, I think I would do from age 12 to 18,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the time, this preteen and teenage years is when they don't want to talk to you, they don't want to be bothered, that you don't listen, oh, you're not listening to me, you're not
Mm-hmm.
hearing what I'm saying, and you devalue what they're saying. So I want that communication to come back where you can understand. So that's my bold move
I
for
love
the
it.
future, is that create that workshop for children, for parents and children, preferable 12 to 18, where they could come together and build that communication bond
I
to
like that. And you don't have to have an actual spot. You can do it on Zoom or one of these meet and place online so you can reach a global population or
Mhm.
global community.
Yes.
I can't wait for you to get that out there because that's passionate for me. The quality of your communication determines the quality of your life. And I know somebody's out there saying, "What?" Yes, what? Because how you communicate with someone and how effectively that message is gone across and the tone that you use, it
Mhm.
really impacts your life and the quality of your life. Are you able to sleep because you didn't get the message clear or you didn't give a clear message to someone?
Yes.
How does that person respond to you because you had a high tone when you were talking to them or a disrespectful tone when you were talking to them? The quality of your communication
Yes.
helps to depict the quality of your life. So the better your communication quality,
Mhm.
better the quality of your life. So I'm so looking forward to this workshop. If I can just drop into one of those meetings, I would love to because I want to see what you're putting out there. And when do you expect to put this out there?
Um,
I have
it,
to do it.
yes, it's been
And I have to give you a goal line.
it's been it's in me right now because I'm doing this Facebook Live topics. It's
Yeah.
every day I think about it. Every day I think about it. I'm trying to design the plan. I'm trying to see what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, where, these kind of things. So each time when something comes up, I will jot it down. So I'm a little closer. I have something. I have something to show you. It's
I'll
a pleasure to
always.
be here. It's a pleasure talking with you. And we didn't even discuss that you are the publisher of my book.
I am. Oh yes,
Yes,
guys. Yes,
Ball Publishing.
it
Yes,
was a
and you did a great
pleasure.
job to bring it to fruition. There's
Oh,
the banner behind me.
beautiful,
Yes,
beautiful.
yes.
It was really a joy to publish your book. I loved it because I tested it on my grandchildren, and if they approve, honey, it's good. Okay. So thank you so much, Rowena, for coming and sharing and talking about the message of your book and so many different messages about encouraging young people to get more scientific and to be more involved in their community and to learn more about their world and to just test out their creativity and be more curious. I also want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to publish your book. It was an honor. So thank you so much and thank you for coming by today.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Nicholson. I appreciate it, and I'm grateful to be here. Hope we could collaborate on other ventures in the near future.
Of course. Now, if you would like to write a book and you don't know where to start, please check out my website at boldpublishings.com and schedule an appointment with me. Let me hear what you have in your head. What's your big idea? And let me help you get that out of your head and onto paper so that you can become the published author you've been dreaming of and make some money. Bye bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a central hub and a safe space for authors to share their stories. Follow Dr. Denise on Facebook and Instagram at Denise Nicholson or go to denisenicholson.com. Remember, no one can share your story better than you.